The Adirondack Mountains, ædɨ'rʒndæk, form a massif in the northeast of upstate New York in the United States. Its boundaries correspond to the boundaries of Adirondack Park. The mountains form a roughly circular dome, about 160 miles in diameter and about 1 mile high. The current relief owes much to glaciation. History. The earliest written use of the name of spelt Rontics was in 1724 by the French missionary Joseph-François Lafitau. He defined it as tree-eaters. In the Mohawk language, Adirondack means porcupine, an animal which may eat bark. The Mohawks had no written language at the time, so Europeans have used various phonetic spellings. An English map from 1761 labeled it simply deer hunting country, and the mountains were named Adirondacks in 1837 by Ebenezer Emmons. People first arrived in the area following the settlement of the Americas around 10,000 BC. The Algonquin peoples and the Mohawk Nation used the Adirondacks for hunting and travel but did not settle. European colonization of the area began with Samuel de Champlain visiting what is now Ticonderoga in 1609, and Jesuit missionary Isaac Jogues visited the region in 1642. In 1664 the land came under the control of the English when New Netherland was ceded to the Crown. After the American Revolutionary War, the lands passed to the people of New York State. Needing money to discharge war debts, the new government sold nearly all the original public acreage, about 7 million acres, for pennies an acre. Lumbermen were welcomed to the interior, with few restraints, resulting in massive deforestation. For the history of the area since industrialization, see the history of Adirondack Park. Geology. The rocks of the mountains originated about 2 billion years ago as 50,000 feet deep sediments at the bottom of the sea near the equator. Because of continental drift, these collided with what is now North America in a mountain-building episode known as the Grenville orogeny. During this time, the sedimentary rock was changed into metamorphic rock. It is these Proterozoic rocks that make up the core of the massif. Such rocks of interest include wollastonite, mined near Harrisville; magnetite and hematite, formerly mined at the Benson Mines, Leon Mountain, Mineville, Tamahoose, and Witherbeer; graphite, mined near Hague and Ticonderoga; garnet, mined at the Barton Mine, north of Gore Mountain; anorthosite, visible in road cuts on the New York State Route 3 between Saranac Lake and Tupper Lake; marble; zinc. The Barmett Edwards district on the northwest flank of the massif, also in St. Lawrence County, was a major zinc ore deposit. Titanium was mined in the Sanford Lake. Around 600 million years ago, the area began to be pulled apart, as North America drifted away from Europe, forming the Atlantic Ocean. Faults developed, running north to northeast, which formed valleys and deep lakes. Examples visible today include the Grabens Lake George and Schroon Lake. By this time the Grenville Mountains had been eroded away and the area was covered by a shallow sea. Several thousand feet of sediment accumulated on the seabed. Trilobites were the principal life form of the seabed, and fossil tracks can be seen in the Potsdam sandstone floor of the Paul Smith's Visitor Interpretive Center. About 10 million years ago the region began to be uplifted. It has been lifted about 7,000 feet and is continuing at about 2 millimeters per year, which is greater than the rate of denudation. The cause of the uplift is unknown, but geologists theorize that it is caused by a hotspot in the Earth's crust. Evidence of this may be the occurrence of earthquake swarms near the center of the massif at Blue Mountain Lake. Earthquakes have exceeded 5 on the Richter magnitude scale. Starting about 2.5 million years ago, a cycle of Pleistocene glacial and interglacial periods began, which covered the area in ice. The final episode, the Laurentide ice sheet, last covered most of northern North America between about 95,000 and c. 20,000 years ago. After this the climate warmed, but it took nearly 10,000 years for all of the 10,000 feet thick layer of ice to melt. Evidence of this period includes eskers. The Rainbow Lake esker bisects the eponymous lake and extends discontinuously for 85 miles. Another long discontinuous esker extends from Mountain Pond through Keys Mill, passing between Upper St. Regis Lake and the Spectacle Ponds, and continuing to Ochre, Fish, and Lydia Ponds in the St. Regis Canoe area. A 150-foot high esker bisects the Five Ponds Wilderness area. Glacial erratics. There is a large one at the Newcomb Visitor Information Center next to the Rich Lake Trail. Outwash plains, kames, moraines. The cirques that characterize Whiteface Mountain. Outwash plains. St. Regis Canoe area is an outwash plain pitted with kettle holes. Soils in the area are generally thin, sandy, acidic, and infertile, having developed since the glacial retreat. Ecology. The Adirondack Mountains form the southernmost part of the eastern forest boreal transition ecoregion. They are heavily forested, and contain one of the southernmost distribution taiga in North America. The forests of the Adirondacks include spruce, pine and deciduous trees. Lumbering, once an important industry, has been much restricted by the creation of the park. The mountains include many wetlands, of which there are three kinds. Swamps, any wetland including trees and shrubs. Marshes, wetlands with water stagnation. These may support bullfrogs and spring peepers, spotted salamanders, great blue heron, American bittern, and painted turtles. Pickerel weed often forms large colonies. Bogs, characterized by plants like sphagnum moss, orchids, and pitcher plants. Common birds include the boreal chickadees, gray jays, spruce grouse, black-backed woodpeckers, common loons and crossbills. Nearly 60% of the park is covered with northern hardwood forest. Above 2,600 feet the soil is too poor for hardwoods, and supports balsam fir and red spruce. Above 3,500 feet black spruce replace red. Higher still, only trees short enough to be covered in snow during the winter can survive.